Good evening. Welcome to your channel, Fable Wonderland. I'm Dr. Buasi, and today I present to you the fable with the title The Katamorphosis. One morning, after having a restless sleep, the insect woke up transformed into a monstrous Gregor Samsa. He lay on his back on a hard burden, and lifting his head, he saw his belly, which was no longer convex nor dark, but rather crossed by curved callosities of fear and anguish, over which the quilt barely held, almost slipping to the floor. His legs, sadly weary from wandering in a meaningless existence, were very different from his tarsi and trousers. "What has happened to me?" he said to himself as he observed his woeful face in the mirror of pain. Undoubtedly, something terrible had happened to the beautiful cockroach. It had undergone a deformative catamorphic process that had turned it into a deshumanized and horrifying Gregor Samsa. Moral: the humanist human is, in reality, the only existing monster. Well, let's go to check the four theoretical elements that are relevant in this fable. First of all, we have the term metamorphosis and katamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a Greek word composed of the Greek preposition which, among its multiple meanings, refers to a change or transformation, as is evident in the term metamorphosis. However, in the fable, the term katamorphosis is used. In Greek, kata is a preposition that also has several meanings and uses, depending on the context in which it is employed. In general, it can mean downward. Thus, the term katamorphosis refers not only to a change of form, but that this change is degenerative, revealing the idea that deshumanization is, of all existing changes, the only one that is truly degenerative by virtue of the loss of meaning it entails. Point number two, Franz Kafka. In the Metamorphosis, Kafka introduces one of his most famous characters, Gregor Samsa, a young traveling salesman who one day wakes up to discover that he has been transformed into a large insect, often described as a cockroach or a giant beetle, although Kafka never specifies is never says that is a cockroach. The story follows his struggle to adapt to his new reality and how his transformation affects his family and his daily life. Before the metamorphosis, Grigor already experienced alienation due to his monstrous and monotonous and exhausting job as a traveling salesman, which he is deeply dissatisfied with, but continues to do in order to financially support his family. His physical transformation symbolize this alienation taken to the extreme. Throughout the history, Grigor is marginalized and rejected by his family, who cannot accept his new condition. Point number three, Friedrich Nietzsche. The idea that this humanist human being is the most repugnant is associated with Friedrich Nietzsche, specifically in his work Thus Spoke Zarathustra and the Genealogy of Morals. Nietzsche criticizes the dehumanization that occurs when individuals lose their sense of agency and become what he calls the last man, a figure who lacks ambition, creativity, passion, or will to power. Instead of living authentically, this being is trapped in a conformist and empty existence, which Nietzsche considers a form of moral and spiritual uh, decay. Nietzsche, in his critique of mediocrity and the renunciation of vital values, argues that this last man is repugnant because he reflects the culmination of the degeneration of the human spirit, which no longer seeks to surpass itself or create, but simple to survive in the most comfortable and dual way possible. Okay, point number four, can thank you. In the fable, adjectives are used to highlight the beauty of the cockroach, presenting the reader with an aesthetic idea contrary to what is usually attributed to these insects. In his say on the standard of taste, um, David Hume argues that beauty does not reside in the objects themselves, but in the perception of the observers. In his view, beauty is subjective, as it depends on each person's feelings and individual judgments. For Hume, although there is some convergence of opinions on what is considered beautiful, this convergence does not imply that beauty is objective. Rather, it is the result of shared experience, education, cultural and social conventions. Hume's famous phrase, beauty is the eye of the beholder, encapsulates this idea very well. In the other side, we have Immanuel Kant. Kant also approached the question of beauty from a different angle. In his work, Critique of Judgment, while he acknowledged a subjective element in aesthetic judgment, Kant also believes that this judgment has a subjective universality, meaning that we expect others to share our perception of beauty, even though these are not based on objective rules. So both philosophers contributed to a subjective understanding of beauty, taught from slightly different approaches. I do every week, as I do every week, here is a small bibliography. I hope you enjoy this fable very much, and I hope you can support me by subscribing to the channel, giving a like to each video, and sharing it. That's all for now, but I'll see you next week with another interesting and mind-blowing fable on your channel, Fable Wonderland. Goodbye.